Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful village nestled between rolling hills, there lived a dog named Max. Max was a strong, loyal dog, and the villagers adored him. But there was one thing about Max that nobody liked. He was incredibly greedy. No matter what he had, it was never enough. He always wanted more food, more toys, and most of all, more bones. He would hoard everything he could find and never share a single thing with anyone. One sunny afternoon, as Max wandered through the village, he caught a delicious smell wafting from the butcher's shop. His nose twitched and his ears perked up. He followed the scent until he reached the back of the shop, where he saw something wonderful, a huge meaty bone lying in the trash. It was perfect. Max's eyes sparkled with excitement. Without a moment's hesitation, he grabbed the bone and ran off, tail wagging joyfully. Max trotted along the riverbank, imagining how delicious the bone would taste. He was so happy, he barely noticed the beautiful day around him. He found a quiet spot on the river's edge, ready to enjoy his prize. But as he crossed a narrow wooden bridge that spanned the river, something caught his eye. Max peered into the water below and was stunned to see another dog standing on the far side of the river, holding an even bigger bone. It was massive, much bigger than the one Max had found. Max's heart raced with excitement. "That bone looks even better than mine," he thought, his mouth watering. "I must have it." In his greedy haste, Max didn't even realize that the dog he was seeing was just his own reflection in the water. All he could see was the bone, and all he could think about was how much he wanted it. Without thinking, Max barked loudly at the other dog, hoping to make it drop the bone. But as he opened his mouth wide to bark, the bone he had been holding fell from his mouth and splashed into the river. Max froze, his eyes wide with horror, as he watched the bone sink beneath the water surface. He had lost the bone he had worked so hard to get, and now, the one he wanted so badly was still out of reach. Max sat down by the river, staring at the ripples in the water, feeling foolish and sad. He had been so focused on wanting more that he hadn't appreciated what he already had. Now he had nothing. His bone was gone, and the other dog's bone was out of reach. Just then, an old tortoise, slow and steady, appeared from the woods and wandered over to Max. The tortoise had seen what had happened and stopped to offer some wisdom. "Why do you look so sad, young dog?" asked the tortoise, its voice gentle but wise. Max sighed deeply. "I saw that dog with a bigger bone in the water, and I wanted it. But when I barked at it, I lost my own bone. Now I have nothing." The tortoise nodded slowly, its eyes kind but knowing. "You've learned a hard lesson, my friend. Greed takes away what you already have. You wanted more, but in your pursuit of more, you lost everything." Max looked down at the ground ashamed. "I didn't mean to lose it," he said softly. "I just wanted something better." The tortoise smiled gently. "True happiness doesn't come from always wanting more. It comes from appreciating what you already have. The things you cherish are enough, if only you stop reaching for things you don't need." Max sat silently, thinking about the tortoise's words. He realized the truth in what the tortoise had said. From that moment on, Max decided to change. He would no longer chase after things he didn't need. Instead, he would appreciate what he had, and he would share it with others. Over time, Max became a happier dog. He shared his bones with his friends and played with them instead of hoarding everything for himself. The other dogs in the village noticed the change, and soon Max had more friends than ever. He realized that sharing made him feel good, and that happiness didn't come from having the most. It came from being kind, generous, and content. And so, Max learned an important lesson. Greed might give you a brief moment of pleasure, but it can take away everything you hold dear. True happiness comes from being grateful for what you already have and sharing it with others. From then on, Max lived a long and happy life, surrounded by friends and always content with the simple things.